It's my pleasure to welcome our next guest, whose goal is to give everyone in the world access to education for free. Please welcome the chairman and co-founder of Coursera, Mr. Andrew Ng.
So, thank you very much for having me here. It's been a long morning, so I thought I'd start off this presentation with something different. I'd like to tell you about one of our students, Shahabuddin. She lives in Bangladesh, and living there, she's always been moved by the plight of poor women. Living in Bangladesh, about a year ago, several years ago, she met a woman that was engaged to be married and whose fiancé was demanding an unreasonably large dowry that would have put the woman's family in dire straits. So she convinced this girl to run away with her, and Shamin and this runaway girl decided to build an independent life for themselves. When two of you live in Bangladesh and need to make money, what do? Shamin and this runaway girl decided to start a bakery. It was difficult at first. First, Xiaomi had never baked before, but more importantly, she had very little business knowledge. So in the early days, her business had a poor product market fit, and they were selling baked goods that the customers didn't understand, and they had a hard time growing their bakery. In their first month, Xiaomi and her runaway friend made $900, which isn't quite enough for two women to live on. But Xiaomi decided to study and to learn and to improve herself in order to build a business. She went on the internet and started to read about business and marketing and how to build out this bakery. Eventually, in the course of her wanderings, she found a course on Coursera offered by the University of Pennsylvania on economics. She took the course, and she told me it was a very difficult course, but she persevered. And after a lot of work, she earned her first verified certificate. She didn't stop there. She went to University of Michigan, took a second course on model thinking, and she went on to take a third course from Michigan, went to take some advanced economics courses from UC Irvine, went back to the University of Pennsylvania to take courses on financial accounting and on marketing. Using the knowledge that she has gained from these free online courses, she has grown her bakery from having one employee, this runaway girl, to today having 7 employees, and grown her profits from about $900 in the first month to $5,000 a month in the most recent month when I spoke with her. What's most inspiring to me about Xiaomi's story is that I think education is a gift that keeps on giving. And Xiaomi wanted to set up a bakery, not just to sell baked goods, but to help to empower and support the poor women of Bangladesh. So when today a girl joins a bakery, Xiaomi not only teaches them how to bake, she also teaches them how to read, how to write, and because of the financial knowledge that she has gained from courses on Coursera, today her bakers will often join her for some period of time and then build up their savings and get sound financial reasoning in order to decide to go back to school or how to build out entrepreneurship or build out the rest of their life. When I spoke with Xiaomi about a month ago, I told her I was very inspired by her story and that I would be sharing it with a few audiences such as yourselves. And Xiaomi gave me a message to pass to you. Xiaomi told me to say to you, Xiaomi told me to say that the women of Bangladesh are very strong. They need only the opportunity to learn, to support, and empower themselves. And so this is the work that Coursera and our university partners seek to do. Many of you will know the story of how Coursera had gotten started. As a professor at Stanford, I used to teach a 400-student Stanford class. It was just under 3 years ago that 4 students helped me put my class online, and it reached 100,000 students. To put that number in context, for me to reach a comparable number of students, I would otherwise have had to teach at Stanford University for 250 years. And building on the success of that, we've since taken the technology and partnered with many of the top universities in the US, including 18 of the top 25 top universities in the US, and many universities all around the world, including here in China, Beida and Xiaomi Daxue and Fudan Daxue, as well as universities like Taidao, Xianggang Kedao, Xianggang Zhongwen Daxue, in order to create and offer free online courses. And today, Coursera, with 108 university and other partners, over 600 courses, and over 7.5 million learners all around the world, we are by far the largest MOOC, or massive open online courses platform in the world. So I'm curious about something. Let me ask you a question. How many of you, raise your hand please, how many of you have signed up for a MOOC before on any platform? Okay, like a few of you, not a lot of you. Okay, thank you. So let me quickly describe to you what the learner experience is like. When you sign up for one of these courses every week, you're responsible for watching some number of hours of lecture videos. But unlike the Jingping Kechen or the iCourses or the OpenCourseWare, our courses are much more than just video. So in addition to watching lectures, every week, learners are responsible for doing some amount of homework, and these homeworks will often get auto-graded. And because of APIs that we've opened up to our university partners have been able to create very rich, diverse learning experiences for the students. For example, one of our top courses is an Introduction to Programming course offered by Rice University, where students can write Python code right into the web browser. And by the end of the course, every student will have programmed for themselves this asteroids-like game that you can run right in your web browser. And we have integration with games so that learners, gamification of learners is a screenshot from a project by Taiwan Daxue. And one of the innovations whereas a lot of our homeworks are computer graded, one of the innovations we're most proud of is peer graded work or crowdsourced grading, in which we can have students do open-ended work, such as build an object, use their cell phone cameras to take a picture of the object they had built, and then upload the pictures they had built, and we crowdsource the grading and have the students grade each other's work. And so this allows our instructors to offer very open-ended creative homeworks to students. Each of our courses has usually tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of students, and so a community is built up around the material, and the learning is fairly social, with students discussing the content with each other. And so using these sorts of technologies, the lectures, the grading, peer grading, auto-grading, discussion forum, today Coursera offers courses in many different disciplines, including computer science, humanities, social sciences, business, law, finance, and other areas, with computer science and business probably being the two most popular disciplines. And so with developing the courses and placing them online, Coursera's courses all have a very broad global footprint. Because of that, we've put a lot of work into internationalizing our website, translating our website as well as course content into many languages, perhaps especially Chinese. And so if you visit Coursera today from China, it is and it looks like, and frankly, it is a Chinese language website. And beyond that, we have been working with a number of translation partners in China, especially Guoke, in order to take the lecture content and translate the lecture content to have Chinese language subtitles, so as to make the content accessible even to non-native speakers of English. Today, we have about 50 courses that are either offered natively in Chinese by our Chinese university partners, or which have Chinese language subtitles and are therefore accessible to learners in China. I think that Coursera has been very committed to making sure that our product works well in China, and so we also work with Wang Yi, with NetEase, in order to ensure that learners in China have good distribution. And finally, a large part of our thoughts on how to grow in China focuses on our mobile app. So today, China actually is our #1 source of downloads of our Android app, and is our #2 source of downloads for our iOS app. And so we see a very rapid growth and adoption of user mobile on the Coursera platform. One of the reasons I actually care a lot about having a mobile app rather than just a desktop website is that we learned that particularly in many parts of the world, it tends to be the poorer members of a society that have the long commutes, or the poorer people in a society that have only intermittent network access. They can get internet access only for a few hours a day. And so one of the reasons we wanted to launch Android and iOS apps is it allows these learners to go somewhere where they can get internet access for a few hours, download all the course content onto their mobile device so they can take it with them onto maybe the long commute, or take it back to a rural village where they don't have as good internet access in order to consume the course content from these less accessible areas. So today, China is the #2 fastest growing market after only the United States. And we think that there's a tremendous opportunity for this sort of online content from Chinese universities and from universities all around the world to help transform education in China. And a little bit later, I'll say something that relates specifically to Android development that might be useful to many of your companies as well. So Coursera's been taking off like crazy. I think we're growing very rapidly. What are we doing? Here are the demographics of our students. Even though we had started in university education, even though we had 5 of us that launched this out of a university, Coursera isn't that much in the business of higher education. What I mean by that is that most of our learners already have a bachelor's degree, and the typical age of our learners is in the 20s and 30s. The median age of our learners is 35. So the biggest impact of Coursera is not on the 18 to 21 years old. Many people think we're serving college students, and we do some of that. We do have many college students. But for the most part, what we're doing is serving continuing adult learners. I think the old model of education, where you go to college for 4 years and then the next 40 years coast on your college education, that makes no sense in today's world, and all of us need regular infusions of knowledge in order to stay current. And so by far what we're doing is serving continuing adult learners, the learners that maybe already have a bachelor's degree but who cannot find the job they want, or the learners that have been working for 10 years but need to refresh their skills. These learners don't have good alternatives to education, and for the most part, this is where Coursera is having its biggest impact, although this might change in the future as well. In order to serve this demographic of learners better, one of the things we do is offer them the opportunity to earn a credential, earn a certificate that complements their bachelor's degree. Our courses are free. We deliver the courses for free because that's our mission. And if a learner wants to earn a verified certificate from Duke University or from Caltech or from Beijing Daxue, we charge a modest fee for that. If they can't afford it, we actually give it to them for free, financial aid. But if a learner signs up to earn a verified certificate, then we do some work to check that it really is you sitting at your keyboard doing the work. We use a combination of different biometric technologies in order to do that. And by making sure that it really is you that submitted all the work, we issue these credentials or certificates that many learners are now listing in their resumes and using to find better employment opportunities. Earlier this year, we launched a program in which we started to offer learners not just single isolated courses, but sequences of courses. And we call these specializations. Our most popular specialization so far has been the Android programming specialization, in which learners can sign up to take several courses, I think 3 courses in Android and cloud programming, and at the end of that, do a capstone project or do a major project that ties together the coursework. And on the basis of this coursework, they will become, I think, frankly, expert Android developers, and they will earn a specialization certificate that they can list in their resume and use to find better opportunities. And I think that today in our society, there are many skill gaps. The lack of mobile developers is one of the issues that faces our industry. Coursera, we have 208,000 learners signed up for the first course in this Android specialization. And I think that in the coming months, we will be producing a huge number of mobile developers that hopefully will accelerate our mobile industry. So if any of you face a shortage of mobile developers, I hope you encourage them to take these courses as well, which they can do for free or which they can pay to earn a certificate for if they want that credential to list in their resume. And in the United States, what we're seeing is that more and more employers, when a learner lists one of these credentials on the resume, more and more employers take these credentials seriously. And so I think the Android specialization has been our most popular one. The second most popular one looks like it will be the data science or the big data specialization. And we think that when learners put these sequences of courses from top universities, that increasingly this is a very useful signal to employers, such as many of you, that when you see one of these on an applicant's resume, this is a sign that they have mastered Android programming, they have mastered data science, and that you should take them seriously if you're considering a candidate for employment. So just one last piece. I think Coursera started with a machine learning class, and I think one of the things that excites me about teaching these massive open online courses is the data that we can get. Traditionally, in education, we get very little data, which makes it very hard to improve our courses. But on Coursera, because every activity is digital, it leaves a digital trace which we can mine to improve our understanding of human learning. So when I speak at different venues, I talk about different things we're learning from the data. But given this audience, I thought I'd tell just one interesting story about what we've learned. So it turns out that if we send you an email that says, "Dear student, friendly reminder, homework is due this Saturday." If we send you that email, you're less likely to finish the class. That was surprising. But it turns out if we send you an email that says, "Dear student, we noticed you logged in last week and you watched 5 videos. Good job on that. We noticed also that you submitted the last homework on time and you got full marks. Great job on that. Oh, and we noticed you made 2 comments in the discussion forum that 5 other students really found useful. Great job on that. Oh, and by the way, the next homework is due this Saturday." Turns out that we send that email, you're much more likely to engage in the class, you're much more likely to finish. The way we discovered this was not by insight, it was by sending tens of thousands of emails to learners all around the world and then figuring out what was most likely to cause students to complete. And it was only after that that we actually read the emails and figured out which email was most likely to have students complete. So in teaching classes with 200 students, there's no way we've discovered this. It's only because we had these hundreds of thousands of learners in these classes that we're able to discover these effects. So today, Coursera, we view ourselves as building up a 2-sided marketplace with universities on one side and learners on the other side, and we try to connect producers of a great education with the consumers of that great educational content. And just to wrap up, I think of an education as giving you superpowers. With an education, you can learn to write software. With an education, you can teach other people. With an education, you can cook healthier food for your children. With an education, you will live a longer life. We know that to be true. And I think what we have at Coursera is the technology that allows us, that allows our university partners, to give people superpowers at scale. And I think that we're now at a point where the idea of universal access, the idea of a universal access to great education is no longer a utopian ideal. Rather, I think it is something that we can actually realize. Thank you very much.